We are ready, Madam Chair.
You're good. Thank you very much. I call this April 5th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. Would everybody please join me in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, could you please take a roll call?
Okay, roll call. Hornseth.
Here.
Charbonneau.
Here.
Staggs.
Here.
Monaco.
Here.
Verhey.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Next, we have citizens' comments on any subject except those scheduled for the public hearing. Those who have signed in will be given the first opportunity to speak, and the time is limited to 3 minutes, and we will not exceed 36 minutes for the public hearing. Mr. Clerk, has anybody signed in to speak?
There is no one signed in for the citizens' comments.
Okay, all right, well, that'll be good. Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak? Anybody else, anything else? Anybody else wanted to speak, or?
No.
No, we have nothing? Okay. Well, then I'll move on to the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda. Can I have a motion for approval of the agenda and consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay. And,
I'll second.
okay. Are there any changes to the agenda? Anybody have anything to change? Okay, Mr. Clerk, can we have a roll call on the agenda, please?
Okay, voting on tonight's agenda and consent agenda. Verhey.
Yes.
Monaco.
Yes.
Staggs.
Yes.
Charbonneau.
Yes.
Hornseth.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, tonight's agenda and consent agenda are approved. And approved on the consent agenda is the approval of the March 1st, 2022 regular meeting minutes.
Okay, next I'll move into special orders, presentations, reports. We don't have any proclamations and awards. Next is the city administration report. And I'll turn it over to Director Jason Bickling for the report.
Yeah, I sent you guys my report today. It's also there as a laydown, so it's just kind of keeping you guys apprised of our current projects and kind of our specific planning work that we're doing. So I'm always happy at any time here or outside of this to answer any questions you guys might have on that.
Okay, thanks. Okay, we have no other reports, announcements, or presentations, so we'll move on to the public hearings. The first public hearing is for Resolution 2022-005. Mr. Clerk, will you read the title into the record, please?
Resolution 2022-005 is granting a conditional use permit to Kayak Adventures Worldwide to construct an apartment with 2 or more units within a commercial building on lots 34 and 35 and the south 10 feet of lot 36, block 15, original town site of Seward, located at 328 3rd Avenue within the Central Business Zoning District.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion and a second, please.
A motion to approve resolution 2022-005.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Administration, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I'll just give a brief report on the CUP. So, Kayak Adventures Worldwide has applied for the CUP. They will be building this commercial building on their property, which will primarily serve to meet the needs of their growing business, but also have the 2 or more apartment units above to house employees. This meets the development requirements for their zoning area. The floodplain status, this area is not located within a flood zone. Utilities city water, sewer, and electric service are available to this location. With parking, Seward City Code allows outright uses in Central Business District to just use on-street parking, but the applicant has provided 8 parking spots. Historically, though, only 50% of Kayak Adventures Worldwide employees have vehicles, so there won't be a heavy use on those parking spots anyway for those living in the apartments. Staff comments, building department just stated that the applicant would need a building permit and stamped architectural and structural plans. This same from the fire department. And Public Works just wanted to make sure that the parking spot next to the alley would, just make sure the applicant was aware to, keep the alley open. And public notice was sent to property owners within 300 feet of this location. Recommended conditions would be that the applicant would provide stamped architectural and structural plans prior to construction and work with city staff through the building permit process, such as Public Works and electric departments, and that all parking and maneuverability requirements as determined by the Planning and Zoning Commission would remain on-site for the life of the use. And the recommendation is that Community Development staff recommends approval of Resolution 2022-005, granting a conditional use permit to Kayak Adventures Worldwide to construct an apartment within a commercial building with 2 or more units on the property located at 328 3rd Avenue.
Okay, thank you. I'll open it to public hearing. Mr. Clerk, is there anybody signed in?
Yes, there's one person, Kelly Ann Cavaretta. Hey, Courtney, is that mic on?
Hello, my name is Kellyanne Cabrera. I'm a resident inside city limits and our local Alaska Small Business Development Center advisor. And I just came here tonight to say that I'm in full support of passing Resolution 2022-005. I think this is the type of economic invigoration that the Central Business District needs, and also creates an answer to some of the systems that create problems for Central Business District owners by providing more housing for their employees on site. That's all.
Thank you. Is the applicant or anybody else present that would like to speak?
Sure. Hi everyone, my name is Trent Gould. I've been lucky enough to work at Kayak Adventures for 10 years. I started as a sea kayak guide and have ran it now for 8 years. We've been at that site for 30 years. And so we've outgrown the house that was built in 1932. So I appreciate your consideration so we can continue to do well by our guests and our guides. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. If there's nobody else, I'll close the public hearing. Are there any comments from any of the commissioners? No? We're good? That's nice. Okay, well, Mr. Clerk, then I will call for a vote.
Okay, so voting on the approval of Resolution 2022-005. Verhey.
Yes.
Hornsett.
Yes.
Monaco.
Yes.
Staggs.
Yes.
Charbonneau.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, that resolution is approved.
Great. That was nice. Okay, the next public hearing item is Resolution 2022-006. Mr. Clerk, would you please read the title into the record?
Okay, Resolution 2022-006 is recommending City Council and Kenai Peninsula Borough approval of the preliminary replat of the Dairy Hill Subdivision, Tracts 1 through 5, Tract 5 located at 212 Dairy Hill Lane, creating Dairy Hill Subdivision, additional number 1 with 2 new lots, Lot 1 and 2, and a remaining tract, Tract 5A.
Okay. I would like a motion and a second, please.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2022-006.
I'll second it.
Okay. Administration, do you have any comments?
Yes, and this replat was submitted by Lunsberry and Associates Inc. on behalf of Steve Lear and the Lear Family Limited Partnership. So it will subdivide Tract 5 and create Lot 1, which will be 1.117 acres, and Lot 2, which will be 1.113 acres, and then the remaining Tract 5A, will be 13 acres. The applicant's narrative in the packet has detailed how this replat will meet the required public improvements listed in City Code 16.05.010. This is in a flood zone A, which means that any development in these lots would have to follow the requirements in Seward City Code 15.25, which is floodplain management, as well as any requirements by the, Army Corps of Engineer and the Seward Bear Creek flood service area. Staff comments, there were no comments, and property owners within 300 feet of the proposed plating action were notified. Recommendation from staff is that the commission approve resolution 2022-006, recommending City Council and Kenai Peninsula Borough approval of the preliminary replat of Dairy Hill Subdivision Tracts 1 through 5, Tract 5.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. I'll open it to public hearing. Mr. Clerk, is there anybody signed in to speak?
Carol Griswold?
Carol Griswold, inside city limits. It's nice to see all these new faces. Thank you for your service. Doing a good job, Chair.
Oh, thank you.
Dear Planning and Zoning Commission and the public, I have many concerns with this replat and recommend postponement. The zoning, Tract 5A is zoned both single-family residential and resource management. The R1 section on the west side is about 2 acres and is adjacent to R1 in the south with access from Barwell Place. A subdivision replat is an opportunity to create a fourth lot to correct the dual zoning and retain desirable R1 zoning. R1 is supported by the current zoning map and the future land use map. Flood zone. The special flood hazard area zone should be corrected on the plat. The plat note number 2 on page 37 is incorrect. Portions of the subdivision lie within Zone A. All other areas of the subdivision lie within Zone X. That is incorrect. The riprap along Scheffler Creek does not prevent the stream from flooding onto the adjacent lots as stated on page 33. Lots 1, 2, and Tract A flooded in 95, 2006, and 2012. Checklist conditions A on page 30 are incomplete. The wetlands adjacent to the non-tidal streams are not shown on the preliminary plat. There is another spring in the middle of Tract 5. The water table is very high on existing Tract 5 between Scheffler Creek and the artesian spring and stream, including proposed lots 1 and 2. Scheffler Creek, the artesian spring creek, the stream along south boundary, and the stream in the middle, and the wetlands should be shown on the plat. Checklist condition 13 on page 30. Does proposed Tract 5A include slopes over 20% grade? The slope looks very steep west of Scheffler Creek. This should be confirmed. A detailed hydraulic analysis should be required to determine base flood elevations and show flood depths. The only viable emergency access across the lagoon during a major flood, tsunami, or earthquake is across Tract 5 connecting Dairy Hill Lane to Bayfield Place. The current all-hazard plan states on page 30, develop a secondary evacuation route that bypasses the Seward Lagoon and Boat Harbor areas. Should a 10 to 20 foot emergency easement be requested on this plat? A subdivision plat is the perfect time to plan for the future and address missing or incomplete utility easements, fire hydrants, streetlights, sidewalks, access, flood zones, wetlands, steep slopes, and emergency evacuation routes. All of the lots, not just 1 and 2, should be addressed. This plat is not ready for approval. Please postpone until all issues are addressed. And I sent more extensive comments by email through Jason. I hope you all got a chance to read those. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments, Mr. Clerk?
No, she was the only one signed in for that one.
Okay. Anybody in the audience at this point? Okay. Then if, what I'll have is the applicant present to make any comments.
Hello, my name is Josh Farney. I'm the applicant's representative. I work with Lonsberry & Associates. And I would like to thank Ms. Griswold for taking the time to provide all those comments, and I would love to sit down at the table with her sometime and discuss all of her concerns a little more in depth. I have not actually received her comments that she provided to the commission, so this is the first time I've heard about all those. My client's intention here is to responsibly develop this tract by all means necessary. At a later date, we have definitely considered the option of dedicating upwards of 5 to 6 acres within the tract to the city of Seward for responsible development within the floodplain. That has not been taken into account as part of this plat at this time, but it is our intention in the future. So I would like to continue down this road of this replat right now, and hopefully I can speak with Ms. Griswold and we can get to the bottom of these questions at some point. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Any other comments? No? I'll close the public hearing, and are there any comments from the commission?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to postpone this based on some of the information, but also I would like more information on the stream, the wetlands, and the flooding issues, as well as the spring, especially with the salmon stream. Like, how many salmon go out there? Like, is it a stream that we actually need to worry about? Is the state gonna have issues with it in development? I feel like there's a lot of information that's missing, and I'd like to know more.
Okay. Any other commissioners have anything to offer? We have a postponement on the table. Do we need a second for the postponement? Yeah. So.
I'd like to second his postponement.
Okay.
I felt like there was a lot that wasn't maybe looked into. She brought up a lot of questions that I had also.
Okay. Anything else from anybody? No? Mr. Clerk, can we call for the vote on the postponement thing?
Okay, so this will be for postponing the resolution.
Yes, but I do think, do we probably need to postpone that to probably the next regular session?
Regular meeting?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll call a vote. Monaco?
Yes.
Charbonneau?
Yes.
Staggs?
Yes.
Hornseth?
Yes.
Verhey?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Okay, that has been postponed.
Okay, the next public hearing is Resolution 2022-007. Mr. Clerk, would you read the title into the record?
Resolution 2022-007 is recommending City Council approval of the land use amendment to rezone Lot 1 and 2, Dairy Hill Subdivision Edition Number 1, from Resource Management Zoning District to Auto Commercial Zoning District.
Okay, can I get a motion and a second, please?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-007.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, administration, do you have any comments?
This is primarily the same as the replat, except the tract 5A will remain resource management, except in lot 1, lot 2 will be rezoned to auto commercial. The history of this area, it was rezoned to resource management in 1992 from R1, R3, and has been resource management since that time. So and the staff's recommendation is for the commission to approve Resolution 2022-007, recommending City Council approve amending the land use plan and rezone Lot 1 and 2 from resource management to auto commercial.
Okay, thank you. I'll open it for public hearing now. Mr. Clerk, do we have anyone signed in?
So we have two people. The first one is David Kingsland.
Hi, my name is David Kingsland. I live in the city of Seward and within 300 feet of the proposed changes of land. I've lived there for 22 years. I've seen Shepherd Creek flood its bank 3 times in that time period, taking out the driveway access to my house 3 times as well. And when it does flood, it floods right through lots 1 and 2. So I worry about that rezoning to commercial. Also, Shepherd Creek is a critical salmon habitat. 4 species of salmon use that stream and the lagoon area to breed, and as well as sticklebacks. And so I worry if there is more commercial development. You already have Kenai Fjords right across the street. And I included a laydown in your packet. You can read all my concerns there. I just know it's a floodplain. It floods, 3 times in the last 22 years. So those are my issues with that. Thanks for looking at my comments that I've included with you. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me.
Thank you.
Okay, and next on the list is Carol Griswold.
Hello again, Carol Griswold, still inside city limits. I agree with everything that David said. He's been a good watchdog of that area as a resident. The commission, on its own motion, did not initiate this rezone application, as checked by the applicant on page 49. No petition of the majority of property owners in the area was presented, or signatures of at least 50 city registered voters or other method is required by code. Resolution 2022-007 should be declared invalid, and if it proceeds to council, with a recommendation to council for denial. If and when this rezone comes back to the commission after a valid public process, the numerous omissions and errors should be corrected, including the rezone from resource management to auto commercial is not supported by the future land use map, the only binding element of the comprehensive plan. The dual zoning of Tract 5 and proposed Tract 5A needs to be resolved. Retaining R1 on the west side is supported by the zoning map and the future land use map. The resolution should note that lots 1 and 2 are in a special flood zone, hazard zone A, and Tract 5A contains special flood hazard zone AE, and development must comply with the Seward floodplain code. The parcels flooded in 95, 2006, and 2012. Correct the flood zones on the plat and the plat notes. The applicant stated that the intended use of the lots will be for business/professional offices with upstairs apartments. The rezone to auto commercial allows many more uses that might occur unless the applicant develops his property himself with this purpose, which has not been stated or assured. Once it's rezoned to AC, there are many incompatible uses, including gas stations. I included the long list in my emailed comments. The purpose of the Land Use Plan 1505-020 is to provide a balanced, compatible land use mix in order to separate incompatible uses and minimize conflict between land uses. This proposed use and auto commercial uses are not compatible and are even catastrophic to lots 1 and 2 and the much larger surrounding resource management zone of Tract 5A, which includes salmon streams, artesian springs, wetlands, wildlife habitat, ghost forest trees, and beautiful live spruce trees. A bald eagle family nested in a spruce tree on Lot 1 for many years until a storm blew the nest down. In addition to the loss of wetlands, spruce, and habitat, development will create noise, pollution, harassment, and disturbance of salmon, eagles, and other wildlife. There are currently 18 vacant lots in Seward city limits, zoned AC. None are in a flood zone, none have salmon streams, wetlands, or wildlife habitat. In addition to the R1 and resource management zoning in the future land use map, the 2030 Seward Comprehensive Plan Update Volume 1 provides other support for retaining current zoning. 2.2.2, Natural Environment and Open Space. We value clean air, clean water, and a healthy natural environment for people and wildlife. We practice environmental leadership and act as environmental stewards. Plan for the careful use of natural resources in order to prevent depletion, prevent pollution, and do no harm to the environment. Protect our ecosystem. Encourage education and support our environment. 2.0.11 Economic Base. Promote and protect wild salmon habitat to reduce dependency on hatchery-raised salmon smolt. 3.2.1.1 Develop and adopt open space overlay district. 3.8.1.5 Control development on land subject to risks from seismic activity, floods, steep slopes prone to erosion, avalanches, landslides, and saturated soils. Investigate land trade and other mechanisms for acquisition of potentially hazardous lands. Please support and follow our Seward Code and deny this resolution. Thank you.
Is the applicant here and have anything to say? Okay.
Josh from Lounsbury basically will handle all of the technical regulation type things and the engineering. But a couple things that I wanted to just address here. Carol's testimony is all over the place. It has a lot of regulations, red tape, mines, booby traps, and I don't want to get too much bogged into that. I will mention on the flooding that, yes, that flooded there, and it was because those culverts further up Scheffler Creek plugged up and allowed the water to flood out onto Phoenix Road. It did create some damage there, but the flood was turned back into the natural channel. It didn't run down on the proposed Lot 1 and 2. Now, Lot 1 and 2 is fairly dry ground. If it was developed, it would probably have, I'm going to say, up to 10 feet of fill put in there on the lower end. It'd probably be tapered. We haven't figured that out exactly. So that land needs to be commercial. You can't put housing in there because you're looking at probably $200,000 to put a sewer to pump it up to one of the lines that we put in. So there's not going to be any housing or anything down on the proposed Lot 1 and 2. That's got to be developed into something, and we have a fellow that's interested in that, Tom Tugas, and I had another call today. There was an interest for AC that would support to be built and support the harbor industry. And Tom Tugas, we don't have an agreement to buy or sell. We've got to get over these hurdles first, and then we'll do the engineering on it. There's about 6 acres there. The creek, all the way up past Kingland's place, all the way up to Leif Olson's place. All that creek, and about 6 acres in the little spring on the east side will be given to the city. Not right now, but later on, when some other things have been developed. That's basically swamp there. I've always had the idea at one time of maybe putting a a pond in there. Would require, not a big pond, but, a couple 100 feet to make a better habitat for wildlife and to comply with the stream on the east side, which actually has sometimes more salmon than Scheffler Creek. Scheffler Creek is not a big producer of salmon because a few years ago it was completely dried up. Now there's a couple of little seeps that a few salmon smelt can survive, but it varies. One year it produces very little, you could probably put the fish in a bucket. Another year it might take 5 bathtubs to put all the little smelt that are in there. But the lots 1 and 2 cannot, that being AC, doesn't have anything to do with the rest of that that's up on the hillside. That's completely a different use there. And it's resource management now, but one of the things we would like to do, there's a triangular piece there that you could put some fourplexes or condo units, nice units, accessed on the upper side and the lower side with garages, probably, I'm going to say maybe 10 to 14, 15 houses in there, nice places that would be really a good addition to Seward. But that project is completely separate from the AC portion. So you
Mr.
can't
Lawyer,
be mixing all this together.
Mr. Lawyer, I'd just like to stay, on point with the project that we have now. I appreciate the other stuff you're doing, but I'm going to stay on point with the...
Okay, but I'm just mentioning, Carol sort of wrapped it all together, and it's not wrapped together, it's split up, it's divided, it's sorted, according to the terrain and the use. Do you have any questions? And I feel that this minefield that's out there is, we're sort of being led into a trap.
Well, we'll discuss that a little bit further in our comments, sir. But,
I just want to clarify that. We're trying to do this right. We're not trying to wreck Eagle's Nest, and there hasn't been an Eagle's Nest in there for a long time. So, if you have any comments, please feel free to talk with us, and we'll try to work through this. This project is probably about a 5-year project. I probably should have been doing this 10 years ago. But we need to get it put together, because I'm the only one that really knows where all the sewers are, where the manholes are supposed to go, where the fire hydrants go. In fact, I could start work right now, putting a fire hydrant in right where it's supposed to go. So we'll solve all these problems, but they can't be done in a lot of these technical meetings. You've got to actively do it.
Right.
So that's what I wanted to say, is we want to do this right.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience? State your name and if you're in the city limits or out.
Hi, my name is Kelly Hatfield. I reside outside the city limits. I own property inside city limits. I don't know where the designation lies, but I was formerly on Planning and Zoning Commission, so I saw this rezone come up, and if you ever sat through a meeting that I was in, I was always very much for housing and preserving kind of the development of Seward for the residents that live in Seward. One thing that we always looked at is what the future land use map looked like, and it looks like that everyone in Seward was asked to come together and see what that property should look like, and they have decided it should be resource management. I believe that that's how we should proceed, and if that needs to be something other than resource management, then the next time we do a comprehensive plan, that's when people can come together and figure out what that property should look like in the future. I think a lot of the things that Carol said were valid. Resource management is one of the most limited zones that we can have. Auto commercial is one of the least limited that we can have. Making that huge jump is not something that we've historically done. at the very least, maybe we could go from like resource management to residential, or rural residential, but going from wetlands and something that you're not really allowed to develop to being able to put things like gas stations and repair shops and things that might dump oil and different hazardous materials into the ground seems like a really big jump for me. So hopefully you'll take that into consideration, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything to offer? No? Okay. Well, I'll close the public hearing, and are there any comments from the commission?
Yeah, I would like to make another motion to postpone this, basically because of the paperwork not being filled out correctly and having some time to get public interest and input.
Hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Okay. Any comments about the postponement at all, or? No? Mr. Clerk, could we have a roll call, please?
Okay, so we are voting to postpone the resolution. Staggs.
Yes.
Hornseth.
Yes.
Monaco.
Yes.
Verhey.
Yes.
Charbonneau.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, that has been postponed.
Okay, moving into the last resolution for the evening, is Resolution 2022-008. Mr. Clerk, would you please read the title into the record?
Resolution 2022-008 is granting a conditional use permit to Zimmerman Investments LLC to construct a four-plex on Lot 40, Block 2, Gateway Subdivision, Addition Number 1, located at 2011 Dunham Drive within multifamily residential zoning district.
All right, I will need a motion and a second to move this forward.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-008.
I'll second that.
Okay. And administration, do you have anything?
Yes. So Zimmerman Investments LLC has applied for this conditional use permit to construct a four-plex on his property located at 2011 Dunham Drive in a multifamily zoning district. The proposed structure meets the zoning code development requirements, including lot coverage, minimum buildable lot size, setbacks, and building height. The area is not located within a flood zone. Water, sewer, and power are available to the property, and the applicant is planning on connecting to all of those. Parking, according to city code, multifamily dwellings are required to have 2 parking spaces per dwelling unit, plus 1/2 space for every unit larger than 2 bedrooms or greater than 1,000 square feet. The plan does show that there will be 10 parking spaces. However, the applicant will need to meet the size of 9-foot by 18-foot parking spaces as detailed in city code, and that will be reviewed with the building permit before a building permit is given. Staff comment, building department says a building permit will be required. Public Works, a dig permit will be required, and no other departments had a comment. Property owners within 300 feet of Lot 40, Block 2, Gateway Subdivision, Addition Number 1 were notified. And the recommendation, Community Development Department staff recommends approval of Resolution 2022-008, granting a conditional use permit to Zimmerman Investments LLC to construct a multifamily dwelling at 2011 Dunham Drive.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Clerk, is there anybody signed in to speak?
There is one, Carol Griswold.
Well, hello again. Carol Griswold, inside city limits. Dear Commissioners, it is commendable that this contractor has worked hard to provide housing and wants to create even more with his proposed fourplex. A conditional use permit allows flexibility in the consideration of the impact of a fourplex on the surrounding property. A CUP does not allow violations of our Seward City Code. This fourplex site plan does not comply with code in the following ways. The 10 parking spaces in the site plan are based on 7 by 12-foot spaces, not the minimum 9 by 18-foot spaces required by code. This lot is too small for code parking for 10 spaces. The maneuvering space is inadequate. Vehicles should not have to maneuver around other parked cars to access a space. Spaces 1, 2, and 3 have to back up a considerable distance to turn around. Parking spaces cannot be located closer than 5 feet to the side lot lines in a residential zone. Spaces 1, 8, 9, and 10 look like they are closer than 5 feet from the side lot line. The site plan does not indicate the parking space and parking lot surface, which must be durably surfaced, free from mud and standing water, and dust-free, which is kind of a stretch in Seward, but that's the code. The site plan does not show the required fence or hedge at least 4 feet high in the sides and rear of the property. The site plan does not show all the required dimensions of the building, just the length. There is no space for boats, RVs, bicycles, kayaks, kids' equipment and toys, which may lead to parking in the street or loss of landscaping in the front. There is no storage space for the residents, which may lead to unsightly outdoor storage. Adequate covered storage area, shed, or covered unit storage sites should be required by CUP. Where will the trash cans or dumpster be located? Will they be screened? Where is the snow storage area? Is there a landscaping plan? Are sidewalks required in this subdivision, or will this be an unfortunate repeat of the Doorway Gateway subdivision, where pedestrians and kids on bikes are forced to use the busy street serving a dense neighborhood? Note that current code allows nightly lodging in a multifamily dwelling apartment by permit in R3. So there is no guarantee that these apartments will provide housing for residents. This site is not suitable for a four-plex as it cannot comply with the code. Please deny this resolution 2022-008. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, do we have anybody else that signed in?
No, that was
No?
all.
Is the applicant present to discuss?
Bill Zimmerman, I live outside of city limits. I believe that we're only required to have 8 spaces, maybe less. There is plenty of adequate room on this lot. The fact that I drew them smaller than they're supposed to be was just an oversight. There's adequate room for dumpsters, snow removal. We've been pushing snow off and on that lot all winter long. And we're building a duplex next door and hoping to come in with a triplex on the one to the other side of it. Everybody there's kind of on the same page for a multifamily in that area. I'm sure if there is an oversight, we can take care of it right away. But I am trying to do multifamily in the entire subdivision. We have a huge housing problem, and we're not going to cure it one house at a time. So you'll be seeing some more come across the board, and anybody can contact me at any time to ask questions. I'm always on my phone, unfortunately. So, is there any questions that I can answer now?
No, Commissioners?
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else who'd like to speak at all? Oh, got a few. Okay.
I'm Sharon Stevens-Ganzer. I live outside city limits. We are currently building a home about 300 feet from the proposed site of the Four-Plex. City code does say that you need to have 2 parking spaces per unit and a half space per bedroom, extra bedroom, and so there does need to be at least 10 parking spaces here. There are no measurements on the proposed map that tells you how big the vehicles are or how much space there is for each vehicle. I really think that needs to be put down and in a plan before you proceed. Thank you.
My name's Rob Chadwell. I live at 2,000 Doorway. Not real happy having a multi-family dwelling put right up against my backyard. And asking for a little bit more time. I didn't understand the implications of this. My brother, fortunately, is a land use lawyer in Florida, and he's asking for a little bit more information, so if we could delay it a little bit. But at the very least, I am a supervisor here in town, and it's hard to hire people because there's no housing. So I feel a little conflicted about this because I can't hire anybody, but we need more housing. But asking for maybe a privacy fence at the least, and maybe I won't push so hard if I could get a guarantee of a privacy fence there. And I've talked to my neighbor, and he feels the same way, and I think he submitted some comments.
Just so you know, sir, the privacy fence is in the works for the entire road going up that way. All of my customers are on the same page.
Yeah, Phil, you'll have, or Mr. Zimmerman, you'll have to, yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you, that's all I got. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Any questions? Okay, well, I will close the public hearing. Do we have any comments from the commission?
Well, I was concerned about the parking as well, with the sizes not being marked. I did read on there that there were 7, but it sounds like they're going to be larger. The maneuverability in 1, 2, and 3, and 7, and 8, and 9, I have an issue with, but I'm sure that can get worked out at some point. I'd like to see the maps come through a little more information in the future. My concerns.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments? No? Okay, Mr. Clerk, shall we call for a vote?
Okay, voting on the approval of Resolution 2022-008. Charbonneau.
Yes.
Monaco.
Yes.
Hornseth.
Yes.
Staggs.
Yes.
Fairhay.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, that resolution is approved.
Okay. I think that's the last for the resolutions. Now we're into unfinished business, and it doesn't look like we have any. So now we're on to new business. We have no resolutions, so we'll move on to the other business items. We need to nominate and elect a chair and a vice chair for this commission.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Sullivan for chair.
I'll second that.
Do we have to vote for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Give me 1 second here. Okay, I'm going to take a vote count to nominate Sullivan for chair. Monaco.
Yes.
Staggs.
Yes.
Verhey.
Yes.
Charbonneau.
Yes.
Hornseth.
Yes.
And that motion is approved.
Okay, then moving on to the second one, we need to nominate a vice chair. Would anybody care to nominate a vice chair?
Yes, I would like to nominate Commissioner Verhey for vice chair.
I'll second that.
You okay?
That's me.
Great.
All right, can we get we have a motion and a second, and
Okay, I will take a vote count nominating Verhey for vice chair. Charbonneau.
Yes.
Hornseth.
Yes.
Monaco.
Yes.
Staggs.
Yes.
Sullivan.
yes.
And that motion is approved.
Yay. Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, yeah.
Or something. Okay, our last item of business tonight, I guess, is to discuss a topic for April 19th. Do we have anything from administration?
Yes, I'd like to propose 2 topics. One is I would just like to spend some time with you guys just reviewing the comprehensive plan, since it is our guiding document. So probably, if we're looking at the work session, just a short amount of time to go through that because it is our guiding document. And then The majority of that work session, though, is I would like to discuss short-term rentals and addressing kind of issues around those.
That'd be great. Good. Thank you. Okay, moving on to informational reports and items. The next thing on the agenda is the reports and items. We have the meeting again on the 19th. It'll be at 6 p.m. and that is a work session for everybody. And the next regular meeting will be on May 3rd at 7 p.m. So, do we have any comments from the citizenry or anybody here would like to say anything?
Bill Zimmerman, I live out of town. I just want to say it's pretty refreshing to see people getting a different view of Seward and the development in Seward. Thank you very much, that's it.
Okay, board and commissioners, do we have any comments? It looks like we're at that point.
I would like to thank the staff for all their hard work and everybody that came out. It's nice to have the new people here.
Anybody else?
Yeah, welcome new commissioners. My first time back around the table in a while, so good to see everyone. And yeah, keep on trucking here.
Yep. Well, I'm looking forward to learning more about the different areas as we move forward, whether it's, the land use and the rest, so we can continue to move the housing issue and the other building areas and what can be done in town, so we are all on the same page and there's no challenges down the road. And I think that will, make it a harmonious thing across the board, depending upon, where you are, whether you're out in the audience or behind the dais here, that it makes it, everybody's on the same page and it works out. Okay, do we have anything else from administration?
No, just thank you guys for your service, and I appreciate
Yes, you
all the
guys
work that
did
was into
great.
it, so thank you so
You've
much.
been very helpful with all of our last minute questions and things as we are learning, so I do appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, all right, well with that, I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting at, looks like 7:52. All right, thank you, everybody.